domaine du changement climatique, c'est un domaine très compliqué en Afrique. Avec les mentalités, les gens ne croient pas surtout au changement climatique.
All my families, including my father and my sibling, they are farmers. They work in the field. We are growing, especially the rice. I started studying about the rice production in my master's degree.
Je viens dans une famille où presque ils n'ont pas fait d'études. Donc c'était la première fois d'abord d'être une femme, faire des études scientifiques, ensuite aller jusqu'à la recherche. Donc c'était pas facile du tout.
Sri Lanka is a tropical country in Asia. It's going to have more adverse effects of the climate change.
My research was based on the farmer needs. The farmer urgently needs the drought-tolerant varieties.
Over 50% of the total population of the world now lives in cities, in urban areas. How these urbanization issues impact on the extreme events is not clearly known for the scientific community at the moment.
Le changement climatique est bien réel et on est en train de suivre vraiment les conséquences.
Since 2013, the Cuomo Foundation supports a fellowship program exclusively designed for researchers from developing countries. Initiated in partnership with the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and Prince Albert II of Monaco Foundation, the project is a crucial step towards a better understanding of one of the most crucial issues of our time, the effects of climate change.
I find the suitable water practice for hygiene and minimum methane emission from rice production. And I also evaluated the effect of cow manure and the methane emission and the yield of the rice. I also investigated their interaction effect on OG and methane emission.
My research work especially on the vegetables and fruit research. Eggplant is one of the important kitchen crops for our country.
Mon projet de recherche consiste à essayer d'évaluer l'impact de l'urbanisation sur la dynamique de la mousson africaine. On sait qu'en Afrique, la mousson africaine occupe une place importante dans l'économie de la région. Il y a des nouvelles villes qui commencent à se développer, les mégacités, tout ça. Donc, on est en train de voir quel impact ça va causer sur la dynamique de la mousson africaine.
My main research focuses on urbanization impacts on the local scale extreme weather events such as rainfall or drought, heat events. People are being more focused on these issues in the recent past because there are more people living in urban cities. In the wake of the climate change, the more extreme events are in more frequent manner. We need to do more research on this aspect to dig into the dynamics, how the mechanism of these extreme events are happening, influenced by the urbanization. What I'm doing is trying to find it for the Sri Lankan version, because this type of research has been done in a different part of the world, but not in the tropical areas or tropical island like Sri Lanka.
The fellowship program was initially launched by the IPCC in 2007. The program was then financed by the funds that the IPCC received for the Nobel Peace Prize, an honour the UN body shared with Al Gore that year. In 2011, the Prince Albert II of Monaco Foundation joined the IPCC in an effort to consolidate the fellowship program. The Cuomo Foundation joined the venture in 2013, further strengthening the initiative. Since then, the Foundation has supported 11 young researchers from Asia, Africa and South America, conducting invaluable research projects.
Surtout en Afrique de l'Ouest, il n'y avait pas d'études par rapport à ça. Comparé aux autres pays comme par exemple Asie ou bien Inde, il y a beaucoup d'études qui ont été faites dans ce sens pour essayer de voir l'impact que va causer l'urbanisation sur la dynamique de la mousson.
The rainfall is very low and also the rainfall is not stable. Most of the region in 9 months or around about 8 months maybe suffer the drought condition. My released varieties can be well grown in this condition.
Myanmar is a country that the Foundation knows well. In the late 1990s, Alfredo and Maria Elena Cuomo travelled the region extensively. From this expedition, they published a photographic memoir. Land of Gold is a tribute to the glaring beauty of this tropical country and to its culture. This dazzling cultural heritage comes, however, at a price. The gold mining industry has in fact disfigured the natural beauty of this tropical country and considerably reduced the forest and agricultural areas, especially in the state of Kachin. This remains a huge ecological hazard in a region already suffering from climate change damage.
The effects of the climate change is very serious in our country. Some areas will be flooding, some areas will be drought condition. Therefore, we need to develop the drought and flooding varieties.
And in our region, to the farmer about the climate change in our region. So they noted well about the changing of the climate. My parents also noted that the climate change happened.
According to our country, from the viewpoint of the research upon the climate change, they are still weak. We need a lot of the non-government organizations to develop or to promote this climate change sector or climate change research sector. Some of the collected devices are very expensive for us. This is the main or the great barrier for me.
The main issue is the budget. The JICA from Japan, they donated many facility about the research. But the main problem about that facility is the lacking the technician for using the facility. If we can solve this problem, we need to find the budget for this.
How can we transfer our knowledge, or how can we change each other is very important for us. If we cannot attend or we cannot go any other place, we cannot exchange our information.
The fellowship program is reserved for researchers from the developing world. A new class is selected every 2 years from hundreds of applicants. The first round of candidates is then submitted to the 2 partnering foundations who closely examine the applications to select the research projects they will be supporting for 2 years.
Since the civil war was ended in 2009 in Sri Lanka, the development has been on the uprising, particularly in the Colombo. The major metropolitan area has been in rapid development. This type of research question is going to be very crucial for Sri Lanka, because the real mechanism of this extreme rainfall events or drought events is not known to the scientific community. Having this knowledge is important for disaster management people or the policymakers to plan the cities more environmentally sound manner.
Mon premier objectif, ce serait d'essayer de changer la mentalité des gens. Parce que là, ils croient que le changement climatique n'existe pas, que c'est un phénomène seulement créé par les scientifiques pour essayer de se faire de l'argent, tout ça. Non. Peut-être aussi c'est lié à notre croyance religieuse, parce que là, ils disent que le climat, c'est du domaine de Dieu.
Particularly the research that I am doing involves computer simulations to run certain scenarios of the climate change, which requires a high amount of computer resources. And even the Department of Meteorology in Sri Lanka has a very limited amount of computer resources. I'm conducting my research in Taiwan Research Institute, where they have these kind of facilities.
Déjà, on n'a pas de centre de modélisation, et pour faire des études sur le changement climatique, il faut un centre de modélisation. Donc, on est obligé soit de cesser des collaborations, soit par la France avec l'IRD, ou bien, comme dans mon cas, essayer de venir jusqu'à Italie, justement pour faire des études de modélisation. Il y a énormément de problèmes qu'on rencontre pour faire de la science là-bas.
Our governments very weak on the investment of the research and development. It is the main problem for us. If the government was more and more invest on the research and development, our country will be developed, and also our agricultural sector will be developed.
I'm trying to find what's the real mechanism behind these extreme events, such as extreme rainfall, which causes flash floods, or extreme drought events where the water is going to be lacked for the daily purposes. It will be beneficial for Sri Lanka in years to come, because this type of research is not being conducted at the moment. So this will be a good reference point for Sri Lankan research community.
Essayer de voir avec le gouvernement sénégalais s'il y a des projets de créer de nouvelles cités où la population ne soit pas trop dense. Là au moins ça va un peu peut-être alléger les problèmes. À travers mes résultats aussi, je vais essayer de voir si c'est réellement vérifié qu'il y a un impact de l'urbanisation sur la dynamique de la mousson.
So professional goal is to conduct the applied research, especially for the farmers. All of my research are based on the farmer needs.
The final outcome of my research will give the idea of what is the reason behind and how to predict this kind of event if it's going to happen in the future.
Pour au moins avancer il te faut un financement. Et c'était très difficile d'avoir ça au pays. Donc, à un moment donné, j'avais même vu que je vais arrêter, je vais tout faire, essayer d'être sur autre chose. Et finalement, la fondation est venue, il a financé mes travaux et ça a été un grand soulagement. En tout cas, merci. Merci du fond du cœur.
I got this scholarship from 2013, but I had the difficulty to study. I would like to pursue my PhD in abroad. But at the time, the authorized person authority cannot allow to do PhD study in abroad. They have rules and regulation to study PhD in abroad. I am not fit to that rule and regulation. I really would like to thank IPCC and Cuomo Foundation.
As a graduate student, there's always a financial burden on your shoulders, and also I have a small family, and also my wife is also a PhD student. Studying with me. Having a financial support from Cuomo Foundation is instrumental.
Mon souhait, c'est de rentrer au pays, essayer de former des jeunes gens, essayer de au moins d'ouvrir un centre de modélisation. Là au moins on peut faire des études plus avancées, plus poussées.
The grant programme is an attempt to fill the knowledge gap existing in some parts of the world. All the research projects supported focus on conditions and effects which had long been discarded by the international research community due to the lack of financial support.
The tropical parts of the world is not being addressed properly in the research community. So by doing research on this part of the world, such as in Sri Lanka, it will aid into the research knowledge base in the world as well. This knowledge should convince the policy makers in a correct manner in order to have the real benefit out of this research.
The sum of all the findings thus unveiled represents today an invaluable knowledge base, one that remains accessible not only to the worldwide scientific community, but also to the decision makers who have the power to put this science into practice.